Hi everybody, and welcome back to the security spot. This is going to be another Monday video. I apologize again for not having the Framework Fridays episode out. It's literally the last one in the series, but last week homework was insane. All those core classes in college, if there's some way you can skip them, make sure you do. I don't know if there is really. Probably AP classes or dual credit while you're in high school, but those core classes, they are out of control with homework. Alright, anyways, let's get on to this. We have two articles today. I don't know why I clicked on the same one, but here we are. The first one, this hacker, Unk1549, hacks 34 devices in 11 telecom firms via LinkedIn job lures and mini bike malware. Yeah, don't forget what I was saying a couple of videos back. A lot of LinkedIn jobs are scams. A lot of them. Anyways, an Iran Nexus cyber espionage group known as UNC1549 has been attributed to a new campaign targeting European telecommunications companies, successfully infiltrating 34 devices across 11 organizations as part of a recruitment-themed activity on LinkedIn. The Swiss company ProDaft is tracking the cluster under the name Subtle Snail. It's assessed to be affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The targeted 11 companies are located in Canada, France, the UAE, the UK, and the US. The group operates by posing as HR representatives from legit entities to engage employees, then compromises them through deployment of a mini bike backdoor variant that communicates with command and control infrastructure proxy through Azure Cloud Services to bypass detection, the company said in a report shared with the Hacker News. UNC1549 or TA455, believed to be active since at least June 2022, shares overlaps with two other Iranian hacking groups known as Smoke Sandstorm and Kitten Sandstorm, or Imperial Kitten TA456, Tortoise Shell, and Yellow Leaderk. The threat actor was first documented by Google-owned Mandiant in February 2024. I get the feeling we talked about this. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else related to Mandiant that we referred to, that we talked about on this channel. The use of job-themed lures by the group was subsequently detailed by Israeli cybersecurity company Clear Sky, which highlights the adversaries' targeting of the aerospace industry as far back as September 2023 to deliver malware families such as snail resin and slug resin. Alright. Now, remember I said I'm going to give you the spiel again about cybersecurity and politics. Remember what we talked about concerning cybersecurity and politics. They are not exclusive things. And once again, we have a story showing that. So, when you hear stories, you have to take into account who's blaming who and what incentive person one would have to blame person two. You have to think broader than just Mr. Robot when it comes to this stuff. At least politically. Alright. That's my, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Anyways, the group's primary motivation involves infiltrating telecommunications entities while maintaining interest in aerospace and defense organizations to establish long-term persistence and exfiltrate sensitive data for strategic espionage purposes, Prodaf said. Attack chains involve extensive recon on platforms like LinkedIn to identify key personnel within target organizations, specifically focusing on researchers, developers, and IT admins with elevated access to critical systems and developer environments. In the next phase, the threat actors have been observed sending spear phishing emails to validate the email addresses and collect additional information before enacting the crucial part of the operation, the fake recruitment drive. So what's happening here is that these guys are getting on LinkedIn. They see these high-profile people within companies they want to target saying, oh, I'm great at like Cisco firewalls or Splunk or whatever, what have you, or oh, I can do this really well. Then they see that, oh, this guy is like pretty high up the ladder. He's not just some IT grunt working help desk. He's not just this or that. No, he's somebody important there. Then they send these spear phishing emails saying that, oh yeah, we're recruiters. I believe I've actually gotten a scam email or two, either from LinkedIn or posing as being from LinkedIn. I didn't really mess with it, so lucky me, but yeah, and I'll make a whole video detailing things about looking out for phishing email scams, things like that. Spear phishing is phishing, but like it's more targeted. That's why they say spear. Instead of like putting bait on a rod and just waiting for what shows up, you're waiting to see what you want. You spear the fish. Just like you know who you want to target with a spear phishing email, and you target that person. Alright, anyways. After all that, then they start posing as recruiters. To accomplish this, the attackers set up convincing HR account profiles on LinkedIn and reach out to prospective targets with non-existent job opportunities, gradually building trust and credibility to increase the likelihood of success of the scheme. Now, here comes the part where they do a lot more lying. They pretend to have like a great opportunity for someone, and it's like a great chance for you to move up in the world. It's not. Like I said, most jobs on LinkedIn are scams now. They're scams and lies. The campaign is characterized by the meticulous efforts of subtle snail operators to tailor the attack for each victim. Should the victim express interest in the offer, they are subsequently contacted via email to schedule time for an interview by clicking on a fraudulent domain that mimics companies like Telespazio or Safran Group. Entering the necessary information automatically triggers the download of a zip archive. Present within the zip file is an executable that, once launched, uses DLL sideloading to launch a malicious DLL named Minibike or Slug Resin, which then gathers system information and awaits additional payloads in the form of Microsoft Visual C or C++ DLLs to conduct recon, log keystrokes, and clipboard content, steal Microsoft Outlook credentials, collect web browser data from Google Chrome, Brave, and Microsoft Edge, and take screenshots. The web browser stealer in particular incorporates a publicly available tool called Chrome App-Bound Encryption Decryption to bypass app-bound encryption protections rolled out by Google in order to decrypt and steal passwords stored in the browser. The subtle snail team builds and deploys a victim-specific and unique DLL to the machine each time, even for collecting network configuration information from devices, Prodaf noted. The malicious DLL files used by a threat actor exhibit similar characteristics in the export section. Legit DLL files are modified to facilitate a seamless execution of a DLL sideloading attack, where function names are substituted with direct string variables. This tactic allows the attacker to bypass typical detection mechanisms by manipulating the DLL's export table, making it appear as a legit file while carrying out malicious activities. Minibike is a fully featured modular backdoor with support for 12 distinct commands to facilitate C2 communication, allowing it to enumerate files and directories, list running processes and terminate specific ones, upload files in chunks, as well as run various payloads. Besides blending its C2 traffic with regular cloud communications by using legit Azure cloud services and VPSs, virtual private servers, as proxy infrastructure, the malware makes Windows registry modifications such that it's automatically loaded after system startup. It also features anti-bugging and anti-sandbox techniques to hinder analysis and uses methods like control flow flattening and custom hashing algorithms to resolve Windows API functions at runtime in an effort to resist reverse engineering and make it difficult to understand its overall functionality. So Snail's operations cause serious damage by combining intelligence gathering with long-term access to critical telecommunications networks. They do not just infect devices, they actively search for sensitive data and ways to keep their access alive. These predefined paths to guide their searches and focus on stealing emails, VPN configs, and other information that helps them maintain control. They also hunt for confidential files stored in shared folders, which can expose business secrets and personal data. And then Muddy Waters, Diversified Toolkit exposed. The disclosure comes as Group IB shed light on the infrastructure and malware toolset of another Iranian state-sponsored hacking group known as Muddy Water, which has significantly reduced its reliance on remote monitoring and management tools in favor of bespoke backdoors and tools like Bug Sleep, a Python-based backdoor designed to execute commands and facilitate file transfers, Light Inject, a portable executable injector, Stealth Cache, a feature-rich backdoor with capabilities to read and write files, terminate or restart self-scans for security processes, and steal credentials and files. Fruiter, a loader capable of loading, decrypting, and running an encrypted payload in memory. Phoenix, a malware that's used to deploy a stripped-down variant of Bug Sleep. CanRat, a malicious tool designed for remote control of compromised systems. UDP Gangster, a basic backdoor that communicates with the C2 server over the UDP protocol. For those of you wondering, TCP is the more reliable protocol, UDP is the faster, less reliable one. But again, it is a lot faster. Muddy Water, active since 2017, is assessed to be a subordinate element within Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, also tracked as Boggy Serpens, Mango Sandstorm, and TA-450. The threat actor has a history of targeting telecom, government, energy, defense, and critical infrastructure entities in the Middle East, with a newfound spike in attacks targeting Europe and the US. Recent activity shows that they're still relying on phishing for delivery, leveraging maldocs with malicious macros for infection. Infrastructure analysis has revealed active use of AWS for hosting malicious assets, and cloud-first services have been leveraged to hide infrastructure, fingerprints, and impede analysis. Muddy Water's persistent campaigns underscore its role in supporting Iranian intelligence requirements while maintaining plausible deniability for state-directed cyber operations against both regional competitors and Western targets. And let's see here. A follow-up analysis published on September 22nd, 2025. Checkpoint said that the threat actor it tracks is Nimbus Manticore, which overlaps with Smoke Sandstorm, UNC 1549, and the Iranian version of the Dream Job operations has targeted defense manufacturing, telecommunications, and aviation sectors with a heightened focus on Denmark, Sweden, and Portugal. The attacks, which employ the same infection mechanism as detailed above by ProDAF, lead to the deployment of an updated version of MiniByte called MiniJunk and a stealer codenamed MiniBrowse. MiniJunk supports capabilities to collect system information, perform file operations, load DLLs, and enumerate files in a folder. MiniBrowse is the name assigned to a lightweight information stealer that comes in two flavors, each of which targets Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge to steal credentials. What's notable here is that the MiniByte version used by Subtle Snail not only implements a different set of commands, but also lacks evasion or obfuscation techniques associated with MiniJunk. These tools continuously evolve to remain covert, leveraging valid digital signatures, inflate binary sizes, and use multi-stage side loading and heavy compiler-level obfuscation that renders samples irreversible for regular advanced stack analysis, Checkpoint said. The cybersecurity company also says tracking Subtle Snail as a separate cluster activity that, while broadly aligning with those detected in Nimbus Manticore's operations, is distinguished by its unique malware capability, C2 infrastructure, and targeting preferences. On Reach for Comment, ProDAF told the Hacker News that conclusive attribution tying these two activities to a single cluster or unified group, or determining whether they should be treated as a subgroup, is difficult, but emphasized the overlap, suggesting these campaigns share very similar objectives. From our perspective, there appears to be a malware development team or company supporting multiple Iran-linked threat clusters by providing the necessary tooling and infrastructure, the company said. Alright, second article. Shadow v2 botnet exploits misconfigured AWS Docker containers for DOS for hire services. So basically what's going on here is that there's a new botnet called Shadow v2 that targets misconfigured Docker containers on AWS to deploy a Go-based malware that turns infected systems into attack nodes and co-ops them into a larger DDoS botnet. Which we all, if you don't know what a botnet is, it's basically when someone takes control of some random computer and uses it to do a DDoS attack. To just flood websites with requests. The cybersecurity company said it detected the malware targeting its honeypots on June 24th, 2025. At the center of this campaign is a Python-based C2 framework hosted on GitHub Codespaces. Security researcher Nathaniel Bill sent a report shared with the Hacker News. What sets this campaign apart is the sophistication of its attack toolkit. The threat actors employ advanced methods such as HP or 2-rapid reset, a Cloudflare under attack mode UAM bypass, and large-scale HTTP floods, demonstrating a capability to combine DDoS techniques with targeted exploitation. And they're selling this as a service. The activity is notable for incorporating a Python-based spreader module for breaching Docker daemons, mainly those running on AWS EC2, while the Go-based Remote Access Trojan, or RAT, enables command execution and communication with its operators using the HTTP protocol. Shadow v2 has been described by the authors as an advanced attack platform. Campaigns targeting Docker instances are known to typically leverage the access to either drop a custom image or leverage an existing image on Docker Hub to deploy the necessary payloads. However, Shadow v2 takes a slightly different approach by first swapping a generic setup container from an Ubuntu image and installing various tools in it. Then the created container is then imaged, then built and deployed as a live container. It's unknown why this method was chosen by the attackers to deploy an image as a live container, but Darktrace said it's possible they are trying to avoid leaving any forensic artifacts by carrying it out directly on the victim machine. The container paves the way for the execution of a Go-based ELF binary, which establishes communication with a C2 server called Shadow.Arosa Cloud XYZ to periodically send a heartbeat message to the operators, as well as pull an endpoint on the server for new commands. It also incorporates features to conduct HTTP or 2 rapid reset attacks as opposed to a traditional HTTP flood, and sidestep Cloudflare's under attack mode by using the Chrome DP tool to solve a JavaScript challenge presented to users and obtain the clearance cookies for use in subsequent requests. That said, the bypass is unlikely to work given that these challenges are explicitly designed to block headless browser traffic. Yeah. And then, let's see, further analysis has found the server is hosted behind Cloudflare to conceal its true origins. It also makes use of Fast API and Pydantic, and supports a login panel and operator interface, indicating that the tool is being developed with the idea of offering a DDoS for higher service. The API endpoints allow operators to add, update, or delete users, configure the type of attacks those users can execute, provide a list of endpoints from which the attack has been launched, and execute a list of sites from being targeted. By leveraging containerization as an extensive API with a full user interface, this campaign shows the continued development of cybercrime as a service, Bill said. The ability to deliver modular functionality through the Go-based RAT and expose a structured API for operator interaction highlights how sophisticated some threat actors really are. And this disclosure comes as F5 Labs said it detected a web scanning botnet that uses Mozilla-related browser user agents to target internet-exposed systems for known security flaws. So far, the botnet is said to have used 11,690 different Mozilla user agent strings for its scans. It also comes as Cloudflare said it autonomously blocked hypervolumetric DDoS attacks that peaked at 22.2 terabits per second and 16 billion packets per second, respectively. According to a post shared on X today, the DDoS, the largest attack ever recorded to date, lasted only 40 seconds. Earlier this month, the company revealed it had mitigated a record-setting volumetric DDoS attack that peaked at 11.5 terabits per second and lasted about only 35 seconds. They got those kinds of speeds in 35 seconds. That is wild. Chinese security firm, this lab, in a technical report last week, said the botnet known as AI Suru is responsible for the attack. A variant of AI Rashi, it has infected nearly 300,000 devices, most of which are routers and security cameras. The botnet per the company is managed by 3 individuals, Snow, Tom, and Forky, who take care of development, vulnerability, integration, and sales respectively. Recent iterations of the malware have included a modified RC4 algorithm to decrypt source code strings, conduct speed tests to find the lowest latency server, and steps to check compromised devices to determine the presence of network utilities like TCP dump, Wireshark, as well as virtualization frameworks like VMware, QEMU, VirtualBox, and KVM. The AI Suru botnet has launched attacks worldwide, spanning multiple industries, XLab noted. Its primary targets have been located in regions such as China, the US, Germany, the UK, and Hong Kong. The new samples support not only DDoS attacks, but also proxy functionality. As a global law enforcement increases pressure on cybercrime, demand for anonymization services is rising. Alright, that's gonna do it for this week. As you can tell, my throat is very dry. Sorry again for this being late. Tomorrow, I will be recording the Framework Fridays episode. It will be out this week. There's no way it won't be. Alright. With that, thank you all so much for watching. This has been the Security Spot. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.